Okay. Hey, Christina.
Hi, Forrest.
Have you ever made a sweet jar before?
I have not.
Okay, I'm going to teach you how.
That's awesome.
Yay! So this is how I make sweet jars or honey jars or sugar jars. It's a folk magic tradition where you do a spell jar, and it's specifically for sweetening or improving the relationships that you have with others. And in this case today, since we're all kind of stir crazy and cranky from quarantine, I'm going to do a sweet jar for myself and my family. So here we go. First, you start by writing the names of the people who are going to be influenced by this spell work. And that calls into question a certain ethical issue. If you are practicing magic and it's going to have an influence on other people, think long and hard about what those consequences are going to be and the ethical ramifications of doing magical work that affects other people. In this case, my family is all very aware and they are all very okay with the fact that I'm going to be doing this working. So here we go. I'm using a blue pen because blue to me is soothing and calming and brings peace. And I have my beautiful spellwork papers that I got from the Magical Druid store. These particular papers are made from papyrus, which I just think is the niftiest thing. So that's what I chose for my spellworking today. Now, I get that papyrus isn't something that's easy to come by. You can get it at the Druid, but brown paper from a lunch bag is fine. Some people like to use baking parchment or authentic parchment. Some people just like to use regular notebook paper. It all works. It's fine. One of the great things about folk magic is you use what's around. And speaking of what's around, this is an upcycled baby food jar. I'm placing everybody's name into the baby food jar. So these are all of the people who are going to be affected by the spell. The next thing I'm going to put in are some crystals. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with rose quartz. Rose quartz is an emotionally supportive stone for love, for self-care, and for emotional stability. This beautiful purple amethyst here, oh, it's so gorgeous. This is going to support our family in remaining calm and having our heads about us and our wits about us and not flying off the handle. And then this is danburite. Danburite isn't quite as commonly found, but it's a beautiful amplifier for all magical workings. And it's got this very tender, pale pink tone to it, which is compatible with emotional support. And then this is one of my favorites. This is fluorite. It's a fluorite octahedron. It grows naturally in this form, and my D&D friends are going to appreciate the D8 aspect of this. Fluorite is really good for organizing thoughts, keeping a clear head, and for anything that requires analysis, analytical work, studying, and in this case, focus. One of the things that we're challenged with right now is my son is doing kindergarten online, so I'd like to help him focus. All right, so a couple other ingredients that are going to go in. I have with me yarrow, lavender, sage. I've got some passion flower and some white willow bark. All of these ingredients are going to contribute to the kinds of feelings that I want to bring into my home and into my family. Yarrow is for healing and making sure that all of us are healthy and protected, and that any tensions or discord within the family are healed and soothed. Lavender is also very healing, soothing, and it promotes restful sleep. It's very calming, and it's an excellent ingredient in anything that you want to affect change that is adding mutual respect, improving communication. White sage for clearing out any of the energetic or emotional funk that might be lingering in the home. Passion flower is excellent for improving relationships in general, particularly friendships. There we go. And white willow bark is not only used in magic for soothing tensions and bringing down emotional inflammation, but it's often used in medical herbalism to improve inflammation. In fact, this is what aspirin is made out of. Salicylic acid comes from white willow bark. So now that I've got those ingredients in, I'm going to put in 2 more things. This right here is from my son's last haircut. So you've probably heard in a lot of folk magic traditions, hoodoo and conjure, as well as others, that personal concerns, hair, teeth, nail clippings are often added to spell work to send the magic to the person whose hair or tooth it might be. And so that's my son's hair. Before we get to the honey, I'm going to add one more thing. These are orange peels, just from oranges from my kitchen. Orange is an excellent ingredient whenever you want to bring happiness, joy, a sunny disposition, uplifting into the mix. So that's going to go in there too. I mean, the smell that happens when you're peeling oranges kind of is naturally uplifting. Okay, now for the sweet part of the sweet jar. I've got 3 different kinds of local honey, and I'm going to use a little bit of each. This was actually collected by my neighbor's kids for a school project. I'm just going to pour the honey right over all the stuff in there. And yes, it's a big mess. That's kind of the point. Here we go.
I heard somewhere that you could also use like Karo syrup or
Yeah,
like sugar water, stuff like that. Is that right?
absolutely. Yeah, you're totally right. You can use Karo syrup, maple syrup, dry sugar, brown sugar, anything that is considered a sweetener to you, particularly if it's something that you regularly use. Because if it's easy and it's on hand and it's around the house for you anyway, then it's absolutely appropriate for folk magic. Not just because of its accessibility, but because you've had a relationship with it already. And any interaction that you have with something is going to make your magic automatically stronger. So that came out hard and fast. So I don't really need any more. But if I did want to add some more, there's this buckwheat honey and summer harvest honey, both from Honey Run Farms, which is a local beekeeper right here in Central Ohio, whom I adore. Now I'm sealing up my honey jar. And last but not least, I'm going to seal it with wax. So I'm using one of our Nui Cobalt Designs Health Beeswax candles. These are hand rolled here at NCD. I do the spell work and the lovely and talented Christina does the rolling. And I'm removing the paper label because fire safety, y'all. There we go. All right. And I'm just going to pop it right on top of my jar. There we go. Now, to make sure that it sticks, it's also a smart thing to do to melt the bottom a little bit. So I'm just going to pass a flame underneath that beeswax. Let it get a little stickier, a little wet. Boom. There we go. I'm going to press it right down onto my honey jar. Excellent. Brilliant. Genius. And now we are ready to light that candle and send our intentions out into the universe. I'm doing this working on a Wednesday. Wednesday is sacred to Mercury and deities and spirits who are related to communication. I would love for our communication in our home to become softer and more compassionate and more listening and less yelling. I want to bring health with this health candle to my family and to my entire household and all of its members. I want our family unit to be peaceful and mutually respectful, to be based in compassion and love and a passionate desire for one another's well-being and growth. in all the right ways, so be it. And now what I'm going to do is just allow this to burn. Use practical fire safety at all times whenever working with candles in your magic or at any other time. If I need to walk away from this and not be around, then I'm going to put out the flame with a snuffer. Otherwise, if I can be around for the entire duration of its melting down over the top, then that's ideal. The wax will seal the jar and kind of seal the deal for you. And so that is how you do a sweet jar.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Enjoy, you guys.